Okay, hi everyone. I'm Afshana Afrin. I'm an ACCA affiliate and a mentor at Team ACCA for FR and SPR. So in this video, we will be solving FR pre-June 2026 mock exam, and this focus is on section B. So let's start the question reading without any further delay. So we have Emerald Company, which is preparing its financial statements for the year ended 31st March 20x7. Right, remembering the year end is very, very important. Okay, the following issues are relevant. In the project, we have one project, Project Orion. The project commenced on 1st April 20x6 and it incurred total expenditure of $18 million during the period to 31 December 20x6. Okay, so we need to pay proper attention to what's the year end. Right, what is the year end again? Year end is 31st March 20x7. The project has started on 1st April 20x6. Okay, so at the start of the year, the project has started. The total expenditure was $18 million, right? And this was spent till 31 December, right? So this total 18 million was spent till 31 December 20x6. Okay, so till 31 December 20x6. Now it says that on 30 June 20x6, management concluded that the project satisfied the recognition criteria of capitalization in accordance with IS 38. Right? We know as per IS 38, whatever expenditure is being incurred on research phase of the company, then it's going to be expensed out, right? After the pilot conditions have been met, after the recognition criteria for capitalization has been met, we are going to capitalize all the expenditure which happens from then. And then after the project is done, we're going to amortize the capitalized intangible asset, right? So here the question is asking us, okay, and it's also given that the project was completed and became available for use from 1st January 20x7, right? So it started on 1st April 20x6, met the capitalization criteria on 30 June. Okay, so for how many months will we expense this out? 1st April, like April, May, June. 3 months we will expense because that does not meet the capitalization criteria, right? This is simply our research expenses, right? And then from 30 June, which means July, August, September, October, November, December, for 6 months. For 6 months, you will capitalize the expenditures, right? And after 31 December 20x6, you're going to amortize the capitalized cost and that will go in your SOPL, right? So it is expected to generate economic benefits of period of 6 years. So they have given you the 6 years useful life also, right? So the question is asking us in accordance with IS 38, what amount should be recognized in your P&L? What amount should be recognized in your P&L for the year ended 31st December March 20x7? So again, let's start this. Cost incurred is 18 million. 3 months expenditure will be expensed out, right? 3 months expense out cost will be 18 million is the cost for the entire 9 months, out of which 3 months is for your is for your research, right? So 18 divided by 9 into 3. Yeah, 18 divided by 9 million, by 9 months into 3 months is the expense, which is 6 million, which will go to your expense. You will debit your SOPL, right? Remaining 6 months where you have done where the project has met the capitalization criteria. So the remaining 6 months, you're going to capitalize the cost. And how much will be the figure? 18 million divided by 9 months into 6 months. And that is 12 million. Right. So now we know that in our SOPL, this 6 million will go. And we also know that this 12 million, which was capitalized, we will have to charge amortization on this. So our amortization expense will be simply 12 is the cost which is capitalized, right? Useful life, you give useful life is 6 years. You will multiply with 3 months because January, Feb, March, right? 3 divided by 12. So the answer will be 0.5 million. So this will also be debited to your SOPL. So total amount which should be debited to your SOPL will be 6 million of the research expenditure and 0.5 million of the amortization of the capitalized cost. So simply your answer is 6.5 million, right? Which is option number B. Moving on to the next question. Over here, the question is asking us in relation to plant and land, what is the carrying amount of the deferred tax liability and revaluation surplus in equity at 31st March 20x7? So over here, we are supposed to figure out the carrying amount of deferred tax liability and the revaluation surplus. Okay, so let's solve this. It's given carrying amount at 31st March 20x7 of plant and land is given to us, right? So we know plant carrying amount is of plant is 220,000. Land carrying amount is 560,000, right? You need to add both of them so you can get the total carrying amount. So total will be 780,000, right? We need the tax base. Tax base is given to us. It says the tax basis of assets of at the same date was correctly calculated. So we will simply, add both of the figures and then we will compare it with the carrying amount. So land tax base is 400,000 and plant is 180,000, right? So total comes up to be 580,000. Now we know that our taxable temporary difference will be carrying amount minus the tax base, right? 780,000 minus 580,000 is our temporary difference, which is 200,000. And deferred tax liability will be 20%, which is a tax rate given to us over here. 20% of 200,000 is your deferred tax liability, right? So when you look at the options given to you, the first option is not your answer. Second is not your option, is not your answer because you know the deferred tax liability is 40,000. So either C or D is your answer, right? So now let's calculate the revaluation surplus. So since revaluation has happened, the land revaluation, okay. So land revaluation has happened. Earlier, the land was at the original cost of 400,000, but now it's 560,000. So we have a revaluation surplus on land, right? Earlier, the land was 560,000. Now, okay, earlier the land was 400,000. Now it's 560,000. So we have a revaluation surplus of 160,000. They will charge deferred tax on this. So deferred tax will be 20% of 160,000, which is 32,000, right? So your net revaluation surplus becomes the revaluation surplus amount you had before minus the deferred tax. That's 128,000, right? So first you had to figure out the carrying amount, the tax base. You had to subtract and find out a taxable temporary difference, and then you are supposed to multiply the tax percentage with the taxable temporary difference, and you will get the deferred tax liability. After that, you were supposed to figure out what should be the net balance in the revaluation equity, right? In the revaluation surplus. So we know that revaluation happened, which led to a gain of 160,000. We will charge 20% deferred tax on that. So that 32,000 will be subtracted from a revaluation surplus, giving you a net revaluation surplus of 128,000. Next, you have how much of the what amount should be recognized in the profit or loss in relation to the impairment of equipment in the year ended 31st December to 31st March 20x7. So let's read the question. We know this equipment. Emerald Company has acquired equipment on 1st October 20x2. Right? How many months into the year the company has acquired equipment? April, May, June, July, August, September. Right. 6 months into the year, the company has acquired an equipment. Equipment acquired 6 months into the year. Right. At a cost of 120,000. The useful life of the equipment was 10 years, after which the residual value is estimated to be nil. Okay. So we know the useful life also, that this is 10 years. Depreciation was correctly charged till 31st March 20x7. Okay, the equipment was acquired on 1st October 20x2, right? It was acquired long back, 1st October 20x2. Cost was 120,000, useful life is 10 years, and depreciation was charged correctly till 31st March, right? So depreciation is completely done. On that date, the equipment was damaged and Emerald Company carried an impairment review. At 31st March 20x7, the fair value was 45,000 and cost to sell was 2250. There is information given to you to calculate the value in use. Annual cash flows of 12,500 for next 5 years. They have given you the cost of capital 12% and present value annuity factor. Right. So first over here, we are supposed to find out the impairment loss. And how will we find out the impairment loss? We have to compare the carrying amount and the fair value less cost to sell and the recoverable amount, right? So we need to compare the carrying amount versus the recoverable amount. And recoverable amount is the higher of fair value and value in use, right? Carrying amount versus recoverable amount, you choose the lower and you choose higher of fair value and value in use. So the carrying amount over here will be, you have the cost at 120,000, right? And for how many months has depreciation happened? So we acquired this 6 months into the year, right? And from, if you check, it's basically been 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, right? It's been 4 years plus 6 months. So it's basically 4.5 years out of the useful life of 10 years, right? So your depreciation will be 54,000. Okay, the minus 120,000 into, which is 55,000. So your carrying amount will be 66,000. Simply, what was the cost given to me? It was 120,000. I will subtract the accumulated depreciation, which I have calculated. It's been, the carrying amount was 120,000 into 4.5 years has passed since the day it was acquired, divide by 10 years. You will get a depreciation cost of 66,000. No, depreciation cost of 54,000. When you subtract both the figures, you'll get a carrying amount on 31st March 20x7, which is 66,000. Okay, so now we know what's the carrying amount. Carrying amount is 66,000. Now we have to find the recoverable amount. Fair value, we have to figure out again. So it's given fair value was estimated to be 45,000 and there was cost to sell. So we will subtract cost to sell. Right, so fair value less cost to sell. Your answer, the value will be 42,750. Then you're supposed to calculate the value in use because we will choose the higher one, right? So expected cash flows is 12,500. You will multiply it with the annuity factor directly because it's given to you, right? So the figure will come up to be 45,000. And you know that in order to select the recoverable amount, you need to choose the higher of the fair value and the value in use. So over here, your recoverable amount will be value in use, which is 45,000. Right. Now we will compare the carrying amount, which is 66,000, recoverable amount, which is 45,000. Right. Now over here, you know the carrying amount is more than the recoverable amount, which means there's impairment loss. Right. How much is the loss? The loss is simply 66,000 minus 45,000, which is 21,000. So your answer will be 21,000, which you're supposed to input over here. Okay. Next, we will move on to next question. Emerald company has intangible asset that has indefinite useful life, right? There's no need to even, think about anything over here. There's no need to read the case over here. It says that intangible asset has indefinite useful life. Whenever the company has an asset which has indefinite useful life, then it's checked annually for impairment, right? It's tested annually for impairment, and whenever there is a sign of indication. Right. So over here, your answer is option number C. Now, the asset should not be amortized, but should be tested annually for impairment purposes. Right. And it should also be tested for, impairment if it is any indicator possible. This simple basic logical question of IS 38. Next, we have to figure out which is a research expenditure and which is a development expenditure. Again, there's no correlation with the case over here, so it's comparatively easy for you. Identify by clicking on the relevant box in the table below whether the following item should be treated as research and development expenditure in accordance with IS 38. So we know whatever expense is being spent for research, for testing out the ideas, right? For research, for going through papers, or taking some steps to figure out if the process will even work out or not. That's research, and they always expense it out. However, after you start developing the project, after you actually have you have any item with yourself, or you have actually developed something, and if you're in the process of developing, then it's development expenditure. The construction of a scale model of a pilot plant. So this is a development expenditure because the development has began, right? Next, we have activities aimed at obtaining new knowledge. This is simply research because this is still in the early phase, right? You're still trying to do activities to figure out, to obtain new knowledge, to research. So this is your research expenditure. Testing of pre-production prototypes, right? So over here, this is a development expenditure because prototypes are again something which is in development process, right? The company has developed something and now they're testing if it's working or not. So this is also a development scenario. The search for alternative uses of products that are already manufactured. So this is also a research scenario because again, you are researching, you're figuring out if any alternative use of product is there or not. There is no actual development of something, but you're still studying the phases and you're still going through the research phase. So this was all about Emerald Company. I'll see you in the next video.